Hello and welcome to HTWTV for this Q&A with first team manager Jordan Wimpenny and his assistant Marcus Wilkinson. So let's get started with Rahil's first question.
First of all, we must touch on the agonising news in the recent announcement from the FA. How disappointed are you with the news, which means we won't get our hands on the title for all the hard work on and off the pitch this season? And how inconvenient is that news after your pulsating form in the league?
I'll go. So the obviously initial announcement was made on Monday. We've sort of been having speculations around what will happen over the past few weeks. For us, it's very disappointing to hear. It's not the news we wanted, and we've got the hardship and difficulty now of having to go through accepting that and picking ourselves and players up again to go and do it all over again in the new season. It would have been a great opportunity for us to go and compete for the league title. Obviously, it was halfway through the season, so for us, we just wanted to maintain the performances up our personal standards and see if we were able to go and achieve the league title at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think pretty much same for me. I remember coming back to pre-season in early June in small groups, and ever since then, every single one of us has worked hard, and we had one end goal in mind, and that was to be as close as we can to winning the league. We set everything out at the start of the season of what's required to win the league, and I thought we'd been hitting them standards, and I'm gutted for the players and gutted for the rest of the staff as well, because everyone's given their all, and it's not been easy. It looks all hunky-dory because you're at the top of the league, but we have had obstacles in the road, and we've overcome a few obstacles and put ourselves in a really good position. So we're really disappointed we couldn't finish what we'd started.
What has the atmosphere been like within the ranks? Is there a good feeling around the squad that you're building something big here?
I think if you look at the team and where they've come, in the past sort of few months we've been together, as Marcus said there, we have overcome some hurdles as a group. Players have stayed with us, players have left. The dynamics, I've had to find ways in which the group can work together and be cohesive enough to go and get these results on a weekend and every single week where we're competing together. And we've had a lot of ups and downs. We've crossed paths. We've enjoyed moments together, and it has been an up and down season. And at the moment, the group are in a strong position in terms of where they are as a group together. They fight for each other. They're competing for the 3 points on a weekend. It's just a shame that we weren't able to continue that and see how far they really could have gone. With the league, we do have to consider that we also have the FA Cup to still go and fight for. So we have to keep our standards, our head in the right place to go and do that. And so far, the team has come a long way and will continue to do so.
And adopting an attacking style of football is obviously giving the team a consistent balance between attack and defence. How has it become such a revelation under your tenure in such a short space of time?
So this is something that obviously stems from what we believe in. So how we are as staff, these are the ways in which we want to play football. So we have, players that are able to go and fulfill that in terms of how we want to play. We do want to be an attacking side. We have got principles around how we go about that. So we are a very sort of fluid side with a lot of variety in our team. So we try not to be predictable. We try and find solutions in games rather than being structured in our format that we do week in, week out. So, teams can't look at us and go, we know what they're going to do. We like to overcome hurdles in games, and so far we have been able to do that. And it suits the needs of the players. So for us, it's been a perfect match, and so far has been working for us. There has been times in games where our standards have been really high, and then there has been a couple of games where we have reflected and gone, we've come away from a little bit of what we're all about. And this is something that we need to reflect on and improve, ready to go again next time we go out and play.
We have had some games where our standards have been really high, and at times we have blown teams away, but then there's other games where we've set up and things have not looked quite right. So we've almost, like Jordan said, had to come away from what we know and what we've been working on and just grind results out and stick in games, because we feel this season we've been really good at not giving up. Behind in a game, we keep fighting and we keep going right until the end. And I think, like I said, that was one of the biggest things as to why we are, because of the character of the players and how everyone's pulling in the same direction and fighting for each other.
Marcus, working alongside Jordan, you must feel like you've complemented each other very well since joining the club.
Yeah, obviously Jordan was around last year, went around as well, and you know we always got on. We share the same ideas and look at football in the same way, and enjoy watching football in the same way as well. Like we mentioned before, we both like attacking football. We like to be fluid. Obviously, we like to score goals, and our philosophy is just matched. And you know, I can bring things to the table that Jordan might not, and Jordan brings a lot of things to the table that I don't. So I think we work really well and complement each other well with that.
The progress you made this season is very clear for all to see. What is the future vision for this club? Where do you want this club to get to?
So when we first took over, I looked at the club as a whole anyway. So obviously I had a feel of being around the team previously, and I looked at the structure, from top to bottom, staffing structure, playing structure, identity, philosophy of the club, who we were, the key concepts that you'd want within a football club. And I looked at the potential of things that the team could achieve that cost absolutely nothing. So values, identity, the things that we were going to do, how we were going to carry ourselves on a week-to-week basis. And these were the things I wanted to try and put into the club to allow us to have a philosophy and an identity where teams now looked at us and went, this is what Huddersfield Town women are all about. These are the values they work from. This is the way they operate. And for us then, we matched that with a playing style and having certain characteristics within the team and a group dynamic that we can take the team as far as we can go. Now, we all know that, you know, we can help grow a club and a team when your team's winning and performing well. So that was a priority for us. We've got to go and win games. We've got to get the first team playing in a way we want to play, compete at the top of the league, and then we can try and promote the club in a way that we want to push them forward from that side of things. Then we looked at, obviously, our junior teams, our setups, and we tried to instill ideas from how the first team play down through the junior team. So we've got consistency throughout the club. And then we just review, obviously, through, you know, the staff's opinions and voices within the club on how we can move forward.
So for building your philosophy, how important is cohesion and chemistry amongst players with the team?
Massive. In my opinion, you don't win games without it. The togetherness of a group is so important. So I'm big on that in terms of players and the group, and I'm also the exact same with staff and any people that operate within the club. So I feel like if you're all on the same wavelength, you're all going in the same direction, you all want to achieve the same things for the right reasons, then your outcomes and your goals become almost there for you to go and grab. And I know as staff, the way we've operated this season, the dedication, hard work that people have put in, we've been rewarded. The fight and the dedication and cohesion the players have shown on the pitch, they've been rewarded. And through that, we've been getting results. And because we've been getting results, we were sitting in the part of the table where we needed to be. So for us, that was massively important. And it will continue to be an important factor for us. If it changes, we have to review the structure or the circumstance at that time. But that is so important for us to go and keep winning games of football.
And on that as well, obviously when assessing the squad before the season, we knew we didn't want to upset the current squad of what we had, so we didn't want to go recruit loads of players, and we put a lot of trust in the squad that we got handed to us. And you know, we made 2 additions in Bethan and Serena, and they've complemented the group really well. They fitted in straight away, and they've both played a really big part. And like Jordan said, just staff as well. We all get really well on and off the pitch. And then the players, you know, they're all really good mates. You know, they're all having a laugh. They're all some really big characters in there as well. And even with the younger players, you know, they've come out of the shell a lot this year, and you can see them developing, not just as players, but as people around the group as well.
Touching on togetherness, obviously, Jordan, you've had a great start to the season and you've been a fortune changer. But how much credit goes to Marcus as well? Because obviously, behind the scenes, it involves a lot of work, doesn't it?
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to take this away from Marcus because he's done a brilliant job, but I've got to say it comes down to everybody, because without everybody, it doesn't function. Marcus, I lean on a lot of the times for, you know, opinions on things, views, to question what I obviously think, you know, get him to consider things that I may have not seen. So, you know, we can't see everything as much as we want to. We can't, and we develop a big sense of trust. So he'll say something, I'll trust his opinion, and then, we'll see what happens within that sort of stage. And for us, like I said, every single person at the club plays a part. All you guys play a part. Marcus plays a huge part, obviously, alongside me. And because we work in the way we do, we've been able to achieve what we have so far in terms of our position in the league. So credit to you guys, really, at that stages.
Marcus, on that note, what have you learnt from Jordan?
Just, because in terms of a coaching background, I didn't really have a massive coaching background. I came more from performance analysis. So it was just how you carry yourself in certain situations, how you talk to different people and different characters, and then just overall planning of sessions and always demanding the best from not just yourself but everyone around you as well. And I think that's a massive thing that Jordan's taught. The results speak for themselves, and he's got everyone believing in his methods, and I've believed in it since day one. And that's why when he asked me to be assistant manager, I jumped at the chance, because like I said before, we see football in the same way. So for me, I've really enjoyed it.
Getting your team well drilled and organised must be an easy thing to do as an outsider, but how much work goes into the fine details day in, day out on the training ground for both of you?
Yeah, we've got to work hard with the players. You've got to understand as well, we've got a big mix of players. So you've got players who are very experienced in there. So what you have to understand is you're trying to instill new ideas to some players and a way in which you want to play, but you've got a lot of experienced players that sometimes it might be a difficult thing to instill new ideas and ways of playing when they've played for so long and being used to playing a particular way. So you've got to be really clever on how you go about delivering it and planning for it. So having a framework with some form of structure, but allowing the players to have some form of freedom, the combination between the two works really well, because what you then create is a way in which you want to play, but also allow the players to go and perform at what they're best at. So you're not hindering them from doing what they're good at, but still play within your framework to achieve what you want to achieve when you're playing the 90-minute game of football. So it's having a balance. You might give, obviously, details, fine tweaks, little bits of information, solutions on how to beat certain teams if you get impressed high or whatever it might be, or if they drop off. And you look to find solutions. But the players are very experienced, so I put a lot of trust into them. And then as staff, we try and give them solutions when, the problems rise and we don't know how to overcome it, whether that's changing the system, getting players to do a particular job whilst the game's going on, whatever it might be, to try and overcome that. But like I said, the players are very experienced and they know what they're good at, for the majority of them.
What effect has high pressing football given? Is counter-attacking football the best form of defence?
Well, obviously, we have a very particular way in which we attack and a very sort of straightforward way in which we defend. So you've got to look at the two. So the team was used to pressing before. Sometimes in games we've dropped off, we've put mid-blocks in, sometimes we have pressed. We've just got to look at who we're playing against. We approach games dependent on the situation we're faced with. So if we're faced with a team that might not have the best ball-playing centre-halves, we can go and press because we know that they're not comfortable in possession. If they are good ball-playing centre-halves and they can play out, we might have to drop off a little bit because they're more dangerous through the middle. So we need to compact it with players and make it difficult for them to play through. If we know we're playing against a team that is in behind all the time, then we know we've got to be mindful of dropping off. We have got players in the team that love to counter-attack. So we have got, obviously, wide players and forwards that love to go and attack, stay in those positions and go forward. And that has proven for us over the season where we've got goals from. We've defended really well. We've been disciplined. We've been structured. We've worked for each other. The ball's broke. And now we're 4v3, 4v2, and we're able to go and attack at speed. And we have got goals from that obviously over the season we've been able to see so far.
Going on to the last 6 questions now. So your wingers have been a big feature this season. Is the threat in behind the most satisfying part to your job from the sidelines as head coach?
I like it when, don't get me wrong, a goal's a goal in any game. But I like it when I see a goal or the team achieves a goal that we've been working on and working really hard in terms of how we play. So there's games that stand out for me. There's the Sunderland game. we have had moments in games, for example, the Forest game in the last minute, but that's a moment. When I'm looking at performances, I take the game against Sunderland. It's probably our best performance. The reason why is because we controlled the game, we moved the ball around the pitch, we got down the sides, we were putting balls across the box, and these are the things that we try and work on. If we can't get down the sides, we play through the middle. If we can't play through the middle, we get down the sides. So if we play that way and we get through opponents in that manner, sliding it down the slide, combining through the middle, perfect. If we have to play in behind to get a goal, then that's what we have to do. But what we have is a very, very versatile team that hopefully can solve problems as the game's going on, and that might be the way to score. You might not be able to play through them, so you've got to go over them. That's fine. It's not a problem. The game's going on. But then if the team start to drop off, then we can start playing in front of them again.
I think just on that as well, the perfect example is Middlesbrough away. We suffered quite a lot in the first half. I think it was 1-1 at half time, but they was getting in some really good areas and causing problems. So we changed the shape a little bit and highlighted that we needed to play over them. So the team did it really well, and we ended up winning the game 4-2 in the end. So, like I said, that's us being adaptable. We don't always look to do that. We try to change it up, and like Jordan said before, it's all about situation, who we're playing, and if it's a physical side, do we look to play it on the floor more, or if it's a good football inside, how can we combat their strengths and our strengths as well.
How good is the football environment where everyone is fighting for each other?
I don't think there's one better, is there? What I like from what I've seen so far, from the staff and from the players, everybody works for each other, and I mean, like the relationship between everybody is where you need it for something to be successful. So the players will fight for each other, and you see that in the tackles, you see that in their attitude, their wants and desires. They get frustrated when the game might be going against them, but that's good because they care and they want to win and they want to, get results, and they do fight for each other. And we've seen that in games where players have slotted in for other players to do jobs, take responsibility, and we've had a level of maturity in performances this season that I hadn't seen before, where we're controlling games towards the end. We're making smart decisions to get 3 points. We're not being naive and trying to attack all the time. And, for us, that's been great. And, you see the support from everybody on the side, and everybody's in it together. And when you see that, and it rubs off the staff onto the players between each other, they perform, they then get the result that they need at the end of the game. We had a rocky start to the season. We had a draw and a loss. So as you can imagine, we had a good pre-season, but it didn't start the way we wanted it. Didn't start, we had a very, very tough competitive game. Could have gone either way. The Burnley game, we had a penalty in the last minute, didn't go our way. And, there were conversations happening around that time where we needed players to keep believing in what we were doing. And then we went and played our midweek fixture and we got a result. And ever since then, we've been able to continue that run.
One for Marcus and then yourself, Jordan. Obviously, with the FA Cup on the horizon and something to play for after lockdown, what is a priority now for you for the rest of the season? Is it about carrying on the momentum and confidence from the league?
We always want to win games. Every game we've gone into the season, we wanted to win. So, it's a good chance for the club to progress and, have a good cup run. We've got Newcastle or Brighouse at home, and then after that, I think it's a team in our league, if I remember rightly. So, it's cup football. Anything can happen. We went to Liverpool and Liverpool Feds, and they caused us lots of problems when we came away victorious from that. But cup football is, like I said, it's exciting, but obviously we want to win every game and get as far as we can in the competition.
Yeah, I think obviously from that, we'll approach every game the same in terms of going out to try and win, regardless of who's in front of us. So we have to maintain our consistency. So if that's the level of performance we set in the league, then we set that in the cup. Obviously, when we played Liverpool, as Marcus said, it was a tough game. They took us through to extra time. We didn't want to go there, but we did. And credit to them for that. They gave us a very, very tough game. And again, we had to solve problems in that game. Didn't start the way we thought it would. We made changes and it helped. We adapted. The players had a break at that point and they come back into a game and, they had to work for that extra minute in the extra time. So we managed to get the result. And, when we go through to the next round onto the 11th of April, we'll go and try and win the game and try and progress, and we'll give the players, a cup run that hopefully they deserve and to keep going. And, if you look at the one last year and they got to play down at the stadium, it was a great opportunity for them, and we want to give them the opportunities to keep progressing and keep going. This team is more than capable of doing it. And like we said, they're in a great place at the moment, so we just want to keep that momentum for them.
On that note, how big is our relationship with the men's team for progressing even higher, whether in B leagues or facilities in the future?
If you look at the way women's football's been going at the moment, you look at the teams, sort of a couple of teams in our league. So you've got Fylde, you've got Burnley that have now, made a great partnership with their men's setup. That for us, it's something that we want to keep pushing for, developing, improving, closing gaps, getting over those bridges, and forming a close partnership with them, because there's a massive growth of women's football. And even though we have had the announcements recently, which people could argue that it is a setback for people, that there is this plan in place, and we've got to just believe that if we keep working the way we are, that the women's game will keep developing. And relationships with the men's team has proven with the teams that are above us in other leagues that it is something that, if we want to progress and we want to keep developing as a club, is massively important to help us go and achieve that. And obviously we'll do all we can to keep winning those games and sort of reward them with their gestures of bringing in people to create that partnership and make it stronger.
So just the final three now. So for both of you, your proudest moment so far at Huddersfield Town?
Marcus, do you want to
go? Proudest moment, I think, literally just, when you see your ideas come off in games, and, you can finally see what you've been working on for months coming off, because like we've touched on before, the philosophy and the playing style before was one that didn't suit the way that me and Jordan work. So we reverted back to basics, scrapped all that and put in our ideas. And, it did take a month or two to fully get in, because it doesn't happen overnight. And once you see that happening, I think the Sunderland game was probably the moment that all clicked for us. We think that was the most resolute and fluid performances, where players got on the ball, they got into the right areas, played 1 and 2 touch, they played in behind, played down the sides, and that's what we've been working on all season. So I think when you're coming away from, especially with how strong Sunderland were last season, I think they'd not lost a single game before it got scrapped, and that was highlighted to us that game was going to be a really good game, and the way that we dominated and ended up winning 3-0 for me personally, I know that was a proud moment. And then to back that up with Forest as well, last minute winner, I think that was just probably the moment of the season. I think not just for me, but I'd imagine quite a few people.
Yeah, mine's slightly different. So I'll agree with Sunderland in terms of performance. I thought that was our best performance by far. I think the last minute winner against Forest is a moment that we can't forget. I think that's always a moment to enjoy. The players certainly did. But I think from a personal point of view, the win away at Hull was probably my moment, because you've got to think about all the planning that's gone into it, all the time we've sacrificed from the first lockdown, all the times you've done small sessions, implementing ideas, the constant time you're giving to these players. You have a good pre-season run, then you draw 3-3, you lose 2-1, and you're having these conversations with the players, and you keep trying to get them to believe. You keep wanting to believe in what you're doing. You're telling them and you're showing them, and they can't see it because the results didn't go our way. Then we go to Hull. It was a long day. Started to rain in the evening. It dropped dark. You were playing under the lights, and we ended up coming away with our first win. And I remember when the game had finished, everybody else had gone inside. Everyone was inside. I stood in the middle of the pitch. I must have stood there for about 10 minutes. I didn't move. And for that moment there, that sort of just sunk in, where we're going, this is where now it's going to start going forward for us, and we need to take this momentum into the season. Unfortunately for us, it has.
I could tell you I was definitely the first to go inside that game. I was absolutely freezing cold.
Yeah.
So how have you managed to inject self-belief into the players so quickly? There's a clear identity shown on the pitch and the players clearly are fighting for the crest.
I think we have a massive responsibility in that. I think that we've got to get the players to believe. So I said in a conversation we had right at the beginning when we first started training the players that we have to remind them how good they are as players. And they first of all have to believe how good they are. They then need to believe how strong they are as a group. And then once you start getting results, they start believing that. So even though we had a good pre-season run, it really started to come into play when, once we took that first victory in the league, and then we had another one, and it just kept going and going and going. And what we've been able to do is, stay sort of humble and level-headed, stay focused, keep working hard. We know we've still got, or would have had, the second half of the season to go. We still had a long way to go, but we're in a great position because of how we were approaching the games. And I do think that a lot of it comes from us. I won't shut up for 90 minutes. I'll be walking up and down the touchline, screaming at them, trying to help them the best I can to get them through the game. So all these things come from us, and we're passionate, committed, and caring people in terms of how our teams play and how our players perform. So, a massive part comes from us, and the players have then got to go and conduct themselves, and all credit to them this season. They've done a brilliant job, and it's a shame we couldn't go and give them what they deserved.
Right, last but not least, has this season's results been a big step and stride forward in terms of where you want to be? Is the wider picture just going again next season with the same mentality and the same fight?
Marcus, you want this one?
Yeah. Basically, like you said, the results we've tried to create an identity of who we are as a football club and what we're about, and we do think we've done that. So, like you said, it's just a case of seeing how far we go in the FA Cup and then resting and coming back pre-season. Things that haven't always been perfect on the pitch. There's still some things that we want to work on. But all in all, like you say, it's just about going again and implementing and approaching games exactly how we have done, implementing our style on the game on the Sunday afternoon, and take it from there. And if there's things that we feel we need to improve, we'll work on that on the training ground.
And I think for us, it's one of those things where if you look at the team, so if you look at previous sort of seasons, you look at where they finished, how many points they've achieved, how many games they've won, how many games they've lost. So you look at the stats over the past few seasons, they're in a great position now to what they've ever been. And what we want to do is we want people to come and watch, people to come and say they play great football. Let's go and watch them. And we want to attract more fans to come and see what we do and enjoy games of football. I've spoken to many people this season when they've been able to come in and they've said what a difference the team is, and love the way that they're playing. And it's great to see. And, and these are the things we want people to have and experience when they come and watch us. And the more we can do that, the more success we can have on the pitch, the bigger the club will grow. And that's where we hopefully want to try and take them going into next season as well.
Thank you for your time, Jordan and Marcus, for joining us today. It was a very insightful chat. Hopefully we'll see you very soon in April for the FA Cup game.